my mute button on my microphone does not work. I'm going to get a drink. Yep, the button's not working. I'll do it live. So Willow, the 17-week-old child, is very tired and very grumpy. Hello, everybody. Let me well, I'm very quickly just going to find out why my mute button isn't working. It was supposed to collection. I don't understand why that is naffed, but that's just the way it is. It's not a massive problem. Full face. Is this my face? This is my face. The camera's like off to one side for whatever reason. Hello everybody, by the way. So hi Darren, hi Jason, hi John. Is that Jay Young? I hope you don't want me saying that. Hi Craig. She's tired, hungry, which is leading to significant grumpiness. I don't know why, it feels like the camera is sort of tilted down. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. How's the her today? Oh, that's bad. Look at that. Wait, what side's that on? That's a shocker right there. Jay Young is fine. Yes, so that is the plan. Oh, sorry, there was one thing I needed to do slightly off stream. I needed to check something that I can't tell you about, but it's nothing important. It's personal, but there's just something I needed. I wanted to do. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing very well. Yeah, so generally the subjects that we talk about are just ones that are bugging me at the minute, and in this one it's going to be mainly about basing, because I'm frustrated by the lack of good basing options, right? And yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Well, apart from discovering this hairline here today, I was alright. A little bit sleepy, but mostly alright. And yeah, so I've got way too many windows open. I've got myself open about 15 times. Maybe I'm viewbotting myself by just having so many windows open. Dark backgrounds look bad on videos. Are you talking about this, Jimmy? I normally set this up. So what's frustrating about this is these walls. I was like, I'll paint it like a dark grey. Oh, it's way too dark. And I don't really have a solution apart from to paint the wall. Sorry, when I say basing materials, I'm talking about terrain for bases. If that makes sense. Like, that does make it look better because I like pop my head off. My head pops out. But yeah, the problem. Yeah. I'm not happy about the colour of this wall, but the thing is, it's good for like cinematic shots, bad for this. So I don't have the solution to that. Hi, Tyler. Is it Tyler? Please tell me I got that right. Hi, Deck of Black of Flame. Got a memory like a sieve. I will try and remember people's real names. But yes, I also don't like the any easy ways to make terrain. Well, that's there's too many answers to that question. If you can get a hold of, the best terrain material is XPS foam. You can just do so many different things with XPS foam that it's not even for where are you based, Jason? Because in the UK you can get some XPS foam for like reasonably cheap and easily. But yeah, I can't be bothered with the background light on today, so we're just not going to do it. It is Fall Fur is one that I've actually considered using myself. Davin, what are we talking about? I had loads of spare bits from my stomper, so I made some molds and cast some resin bits for bases. Oh, for bases. Yeah, so I've not necessarily phrased this title perhaps as correctly as I should have done. I want to talk about like basing you put terrain on this material. Obviously one option is to go without this. Obviously doesn't have a base. Can I find something that does have a base? I can't find anything easily that does have a base, but you get the idea. I want to talk about the base that you put terrain on, if that makes sense. That's what I really wanted to talk about today. And to the extent I was thinking, if we're all down for this, we can maybe go through a pretty exhaustive list. You are really not that far from me, Jason. Great name, by the way, Jason. I live near Warrington, basically, so you are probably like 30 minutes away, if even that. But on eBay, you can get sheets of this stuff and massive sheets of it. Now, depending on what you wanted, if you're going to do hills, these are by far the easiest way to make hills. If you're going to make, a lot of the terrain I use does use it, but like, well, no, let me show you this one, because this is the one I actually made it out of. Like, this is basically that, but done with a hole in the middle. So there's the XPS foam is really, really versatile. I would recommend, if you can get a hold of it, which I know you can, because on eBay, as long as you can get an eBay account, you can get 5mm, 50mm sheets for about £15, but it's massive. It's like 2x4, and you can get, and it goes 6mm, 10mm, 20mm, 20mm, 30mm, and 50mm. No 40mm. Now, I do agree with you, Oaf Gaming. EPVC/Foamex is personally my favourite. There is one downside to it, and you say cheap, but I don't think it's that cheap. It's relatively expensive depending on where you buy it. Where are you from, Oaf? But I do agree. For me, when I am making something for myself that I want to last a long time and I'm putting a lot of effort into it, I will put EPVC. I'll put it on Foamex, it's sometimes called, because, as you say, it's cuttable with a knife. So I've made this. It's not a graph or a table or anything. I just thought we'd have a little bit of a chat and compile some of the pros and the cons of each, if I can get to my thingy. So this is like cuttable with balls. Craft knife. Doesn't know what ping. You can cut it with scissors. That actually is true. It's light, but that can be a problem because 3mm can be flexible. Can flex. 5mm pretty alright. You're from the UK, Manfield Concrete. I bought it online, offcuts from a sign company. You bought it online? I may need you to get me that link. I may need that link because I buy sheets of it, and granted, they're not I wouldn't say it's super expensive, but it's like just expensive enough for me to say that it's not cheap for terrain making purposes, I would say. But so 5mm. Let's have a look at 3mm. Finally caught one. High camping terrain. By the way, you should. You can't click people's names and just go to their chat, like their channel. I called the sign companies. Unfortunately, they didn't have any. That is not good. So I know you can't see what I'm doing. And that's, I was going to say that's intentional. In this case, that's not actually intentional, but it doesn't really matter. Bear with me, bear with me. I was gonna get you Campaign Terrain's link, and I was gonna put it in the chat if I can figure it out. Not as cheap as Cardboard or MDF. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. It's actually. I actually would say I would rate it as one of the more expensive pieces of terrain, basing materials myself. So let's have a quick look. So this is the first one. I'm absolutely huge, and nobody wants to see my face that much. So. Yeah, this is maximum professionalism moment. Let's turn the light down and just turn up the ISO because I don't like bright lights. That's flickering. That's always fantastic to see. Balls. Basically, the battery. When the battery is full and it's getting more power than the battery needs, it flickers, which is very frustrating. If you don't mind, I'll drop my link. You won't be able to. That's why I've dropped it in. Basically, they'll kick you out if you did. So the link that I just put is for Campaign Terrain's channel if you want to go and check it out. So let's have a look. Size. Let's have a look at 2 A3 sheets, 10 quid. This is an expensive one. You just finished a 9-hour painting session, Anthony. Madman. Ain't no way I'm doing that. I just subscribed. John J. Young just subscribed to Campaign Terrain. You got your Intercessors and your Hellblasters almost finished and base coated your Poxwalkers. Oh, what did you buy? That sounds like a Dark Imperium set. That doesn't sound like the new set. Let's see if we can have a look at some more 3mm stuff. So this is one of those. What? I don't know how big is that. That's 60 centimeters. That's 2 foot. It's about 2 foot by 1.5. Is it? I think. Super expensive. Not worth it. So 5 sheets. Okay, this is actually alright. 5 A4 sheets for 7 quid. It's, if you can get it. It's actually, for me. It's by far the best material. Right. To be fair, that's almost as cheap as foam board. That in itself, the A3 sheets of A4 sheets of 3mm, I think is actually probably the best you can get. And you know what we'll actually do? I might compile like a list, right? And just put in like, if anybody in the US, if you can get on Discord or Facebook or something and send me a link to where you can buy this stuff for the cheapest. Like, you don't have to, there's no pressure. I'm just thinking about compiling a list and maybe sharing it around where you can, you'll have to pay a lot for foam board. To be fair, in the US you get like Dollar Tree or whatever it's called, Dollar Store foam board for like, you get an A3 sheet for a foam board. That's not the case in the UK. It's actually relatively expensive. It's not that expensive, but yeah, it's not super cheap. Foam 5mm foam board. Like, we're talking 10 quid rather than say like $1 or whatever. So let's see if we can have a look at A3. Let's have a look at some A3 there. That's Foamex, which is not actually what I wanted in this case. Is normally what I wanted. I like it, it's now showing me Foamex as well. I haven't found it in person in the USA. You've been wanting to try it out. Yeah, so from what I can gather from Black Magic Craft is that it's not particularly common. So you get a 10 pack of A3 foam board for 10 quid, which actually is about right, isn't it? So that's about $1 each, but you've got this is a 10 pack. I'd say this is a really good deal. I might write this one down myself. That's actually a really good deal. So 10 sheets for about 10 quid. Oh, what? Is there any way I can do like a shortened version of that? Alright, insert link. Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. eBay foam board. Can you see what I'm doing? Paste link. There we go. Dollar Store foam board, that is. What? I can have foam board mailed to me, only $200 in shipping. The dollar stores are always running out, but it's actually $1. Oh, yeah, well that's good. To be fair, that was like £1 a sheet. So, if I'm honest, That's about the same. That is about $1. Well, I say it's about $1. It's near enough to not worry about it. Because it's a 10-pack. Free shipping as well. That's actually a good value. I actually might buy this. I need a backup set of foam board because I'm always using it. That's a good deal. Let's see if I can just redo this and change this to this. Oh, it's actually going to keep it. Foamex UK eBay. So we started off with, for me, the best one. I think 3mm Canflex. You know, it's like, what's the word for something that's when you use Foamex, it's like a soft plastic, right? And it doesn't soak because it's plastic. The water doesn't soak into the plastic. It sort of sits on it. I'll put mildly hydrophobic. I don't really know the right phrase for that, but basically water will just it'll roll on it. If you put any kind of watered down PVA or whatever, sometimes it'll puddle up instead of being a smooth even coat. But honestly, Foamex, if you can get it, which in the US it sounds like you have a bit of a problem with it, then you know it is, for me, it is by far. Oh, why am I peeking the bloody microphone right now? I'm not that loud. Let's just double check what's going on there. I just peaked the microphone. I don't know why. Non-permeable surface. That's better. It's a and hi, by the way, roll for damage. Non-permeable surface. It's not a massive problem. You shouldn't get. So for basing, it depends on the site. I'm talking about terrain. Specifically, obviously, if you're doing basing little miniatures or something, it's completely fine. You can also get it in 5mm. I've bought some big 5mm sheets of it, which obviously less likely to warp. Not warp, but bend. Hi Thane, how's your castle? Yeah. Pretty sure hydrophobic is correct. Well, it's sort of both. Hydrophobic, it's not scared of water. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So the pros of that are coupled with a craft nice, no warping. It's light. It's fantastic, really. Just mainly because it's cuttable with a knife and it doesn't warp. They're literally the two things. I think the cons, it can be expensive. Depends where you buy it. But it can be expensive. Not always. Now, for I'll go through the list. Let me know if I've missed anything. So I've got cardboard. I know there's technically thin cardboard and corrugated cardboard, but I'm not really too bothered about the differences. Foamex, which is EPVC, which is that sign material, which I know in the US, in Walmart, Foam Core is anywhere from $2. Oh, that's all right. Waterproof. Yeah, waterproof. My castle's still drying, but I should be able to paint tomorrow. Good stuff. MDF/wood. So you can get plywood and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure there's that big of a difference between them, the pros and cons, so I'm just whacking them together. Foam board we've already briefly spoke about, obviously, or foam core, depending on where you're from or what you call it. XPS is basically this stuff, which I will get onto later. You can use it for basing terrain on. People use it for the boards and stuff like that. Vinyl tile is one of my own personal favourites because it's pretty cheap. CDs, obviously some people will base terrain on CDs, but there are some obvious downsides. Chipboard. Have I missed anything obvious? When it comes to terrain? If you can get the paper off the Walmart, stuff, it's still stiffer than peeled detail. All right, fair enough. EVA foam. Did people base terrain on EVA foam? For terrain? Roll for damage. It's flexible, isn't it? Now, what you could do is let's put full fur, and I also want to put on canvas. You base terrain on EVA? Is it not? It's not really flexible. Do you not just pick it up and it... Or do you heat it up? So styrofoam is basically XPS styro. I would not use, Billy, I wouldn't use the white stuff. And XPS is just a fancy name for the styrofoam. But true. How thick is the EVA you're basing it on? It's a great question. Because I'm blown away by this. The EVA foam I have is pretty bendy, but then again, it's pretty thin. Yeah, so I've used like a 1 mil thick sheet of it for creating terrain, but I've never actually based anything on it. Yes, so in the campaign terrain, I would call that fluting. You can get like fluted plastic fluting. I'm not going to put it on here. I want to sort of stick with the classics, but maybe I'll whack it on at the bottom. Fluted corrugated plastic. It's often used for retail estate agent signs. That's what it's often used for. At least I don't know what a bandit sign is. I use 1 to 3 mil foam in making terrain like the thick EVA foam for cosplay. Yeah, making the terrain I understand, but I can't imagine based on it. Tabletop games do I play? Mainly Star Wars Legion is my main game. I have got Super Fantasy Brawl. Oh god, I'm peaking the microphone. Why am I so loud today? Jesus Christ, I'm sorry everybody. I'm going to move the mic away from me. I have bought Super Fantasy Brawl, which I am actually intrigued in. I do have some 40k stuff, but I can't bring myself to like do it. I've not. Well, I can confirm campaign terrain. I do apologise. I have not seen it. Do people base the terrain on it? Why am I peeking the fucking mic? Sorry, I'm worried, but I'm getting like a visual indicator that I'm peeking the mic, but I'm not even that loud, am I? I'm going to turn myself down a little bit. I have no idea why I'm peeking the mic. I do apologise if I'm busting your eardrums. Yeah, I've never seen people base terrain on it, so I'll be very intrigued in it. But yeah, so I think it's the obvious ones. Somebody said something about plywood, and Jay Young said plywood has a grain which does make driving screws into it less heartbreaking, but for basing purposes, MDF and plywood are pretty much the same. Yeah. Let's actually whack in plywood. Ply. Don't need the capital wood. What? Plywood. So, what about yourself then? Starting 40k should be easier because of the new edition. Yeah, it's the coronavirus. To be fair, I'm not sure if I can be bothered. Hi, Joe, by the way. During a last stream, I saw Mel thinking about making terrain bases out of dental plaster. I started thinking about maybe pouring it over felt or screen as it would hold together, but it broke. Plus texture caused by the drop before plus maybe texture. Dental plaster. Honestly, have no idea. I'm not. Well, I was going to say I'm not looking for a revolutionary material. The reason this is all stemmed or come about from is I wanted to make this piece of terrain, which I won't reveal because I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't want to get people's hopes or what have you. And I was thinking about really cheap material. I wanted to do this thing and be like, this is the cheapest way you can possibly do it. And the one solution to it is to not use a base, but it's not really appropriate. And then I was like, no. It'll get very wet, so no real material was perfect. And hi, Zaka, you did very well. So let me know if you disagree with anything I write, let me down. Pros, cheap. It's literally all I can think about. Cons, warpage. Flexible. Prone to damage. I do some scatter terrain on XPS. So yes, so that generally not this thick. So the reason did I ask where you were from, campaign terrain? I can't remember. Did you say? Where did you say? Did I ask you? I got a memory like a sieve. Oh, you are in the US, Florida or wherever GA is. I'm not sure what state GA is. Georgia? Does that make any sense? What state's GA? No idea. Hey, I never said I was smart. Anyway, I was Georgia. I was Look at that noggin kicking in. Daka, we're regulars now. There you go. We're all regulars. Well, I say we're all regulars now. That doesn't make any sense. I'm regularly on the stream. I can confirm. I have So one of the ones I wanted to use was you can buy in the UK this for you can get it 1 centimeter thick, which equates to what I can't remember. It's something like, it's not exactly, but it's something like 4/16 of an inch, right? And in America, it doesn't seem like you guys sell it any thinner than, say, like an inch. So I don't want to say use this as a basic material when I can't get the thin version of it for probably like half the audience. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, if the US could get this stuff for 1 centimeter thick, I would be right all over that. How would bases work out of paper mache? They would crack and damage pretty easily, I think. Would they? Like, whenever I use like sculptor mold and it's the edge of the base, it feels like it's like a porcelain, and it sort of like easily damages. Yeah, you only find it in 1 inch thick. Yeah, so that is the material I would have used in the UK. I would have used a 1 centimeter thick version of it, and I would have just done it. You can get half an inch. Half an inch. That's about 1.25. It's 1.2502 of a centimeter or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, it's not full density either. Yeah, so that's a problem. By the way, if anybody disagrees with my my pros and the cons, please just let me know. I'm not necessarily going to tidy this up, but I think cardboard we can rule out. It's cheap, but it warps, it's flexible, it's really prone to damage. You can make it better if you get your corrugated cardboard that's like this way, and then you get another corrugated cardboard that's like that way, and you like put it over it. Then you can make it a little bit more dense. I would recommend not using that if you can avoid it. If you're in the US, you might as well just use Dollar Tree foam board for whatever. It's easy to work with, very easy to work with. Easy to cut, easy to cut. It is very easy to work with. I just don't rate it personally. Formex we've sort of already done. I can't think of anything pro cons. The pros to MDF, right? So, right, the downside really is power tools. When you need to use power tools, it's absolutely jank. Now you can sort of cut difficult to cut 3mm with knife. Saw. XPS is sold in 1/4 inch, an inch, but they're really not. They're about 15mm and 30mm. Yes, 15mm. So the 15mm one I would say is a maybe of what I would have used. Used board games and the box. To be fair, you're right. Like that, I'm gonna call. I think that's probably more like chipboard, if I'm honest. Billy, but you are correct. Like the stuff that you like, GW's boxes and stuff like that, really thick cardboard, really solid, but pretty decent. MDF con generally more expensive. Yeah, so that's you say more expensive. Is that like large quantity, cheapish, cheapish? But you're right. The warping. Warp it will warp pretty badly in certain situations. No, not every case, because you can make some MDF not warp depending on the materials you use. But if you're going to cover it in like PVA and you're going to do like an elongated, let's say, sausage shape or something like that, it's going to warp. It's 100% going to warp. No worries, Wolf of Damage, thank you for coming around chatting. We're chatting nonsense, really. not really anything of value will be happening. Don't worry, you won't be missing out too much. So chipboard, from what I actually understand, is basically recycled cardboard. It's basically there's a kind of wood that is like, is it chipboard? there's not, what's it called? There's a type of wood that is basically lots of little pieces of wood all together. And chipboard is basically that. You might avoid warping if you seal it. Yeah, so it's actually really good if you've got power tools. I think OSB, we have a medium density. No, that's MDF. We have a different name for it. Yeah, so It soaks up liquid. I don't know if that's a pro or a con. It's just something it does. Soaks liquid. It's actually one reason it's prone to warping, basically, is that it soaks up your moisture. OSB is bigger chips. Hardboard is what I wanted. OFG. Yeah, thank you. That hardboard is what I was thinking about. But yeah, thanks. Yeah. Chipboard, from what I can tell, is basically recycled cardboard, which sounds weird, but I think that actually is what it is. MDF, it can be cheap. I bought an A4 sheet of MDF at 3mm with off eBay for about £2, so it's not that expensive. And hi, just Kev, MDF, even HDF, yeah, it's just exactly anything that's like wood or cardboard. It soaks up the moisture, which is fantastic because stuff will glue to it. It's also bad because it will warp because that basically causes more warping. I think so. It is what it is. Styrene, yeah. So that's actually a good one. I like styrene. Incredibly expensive, like incredibly expensive. Styrene plastic card. Yeah, like insanely expensive. Shouldn't we? But you are correct. It's just very expensive, and I think pretty difficult to cut as well. If I'm not wrong, I'm not sure what pressboard is. Sorry, I'm not 100% sure what that is. Yeah, styrene is dumb expensive. Yes, I might even just put too expensive. Like if you're going to buy that, buy EPVC/Foamex. It's just a better material for basing for terrain for me. If you're building buildings and stuff like that, yeah, styrene's fantastic because you can do all kinds of like cool detail. But yeah, I'm not putting that up there. Pressboard is American for hardboard. Makes sense. Okay. So where are we up to? MDF. I know it's a pretty short list, that isn't it? Because it's we've got basically it's sort of I'm gonna put it's like difficult to work with, and it warps. On the plus side, you can sort of cut it with a 3mm knife, and it's pretty cheapish. It's very, to be fair, very solid. Pretty darn solid. It won't bend. It'll warp, but it won't bend. It sort of will, but just make sure you type that in properly, Joe. MDF sands easily. It does sands easily. To be fair, you know, Foamex is actually pretty easy to sand as well. I'm putting that, put like can be sanded. Let's put that in there. Maybe not as easy as wood. To be fair, a lot of tools are designed for wood as well. So let's have a look at foam board next. Pros: cheap. Cons: warp. It can weirdly like bend/break. Yeah, bend/break. It's not that high on the warpage, but it will warp. The foam's easy to cut. I'm gonna put can detail. I know what I mean, but I'm not sure that's great. I've only ever seen styrene in half times 11, close to A4. Okay, A4 sheets at a local. Styrene's about $7 in 1mm thick sheets. Yeah, that's flatter. I know. Like Foamex is just incredibly superior to me, and I would use that. Plus, you get sawdust. That's actually useful. You can make flock. It's actually true. I scored it as a pro. I mean, it's gonna seem like I'm favouring MDF, but I'm actually not. I just think like sawdust can make flock. It's true though. It's a true fact. Foam board can be very easily sculpted. Yeah, so you can. So that's what I was saying. Can detail it. Does that make sense? Lee Ivan says, for some terrain, I would use foam board on chipboard. Well, Ivan, you're completely breaking the rules there. Nobody said we could combine terrain, terrain bases. What is this? What do we look like here? Sensible people? Sorry if you can hear Willow in the background. I personally can. But I've turned on RTX voice, even though my graphics card technically isn't that new. But the problem with Willow, the baby, is because her voice is it's a human. It sometimes doesn't stop it. And yeah, like combine it. I have seen Wylock combine the two. He'll put like foam board onto chipboard, and it makes a really solid base. Yeah, I've got no qualms with that at all, really. It's probably a good combination. Let's whack it in. Now the problem you're gonna combine the problem from chipboard and foam board. So a standard office printer is 8.5 by 11. 8.5 by 11. So paper sizes are different, aren't they? And that really confuses me. I've got CDs on the list, Tyler. MDF sawdust is harmful. Oh, this is true. Let's put in the cons. Let's put like mask required. I'll just put general health and safety. I mean, there are some where like no, it's okay. It's okay. It's a good shout. I'm ahead of the game. Any dust is harmful. So, like, you don't generally get dust if you do foam board, but if you sand like XPS foam, like wear a mask, and like it will be harmful, especially if you can't spell it. CDs are fantastic, but we'll get to CDs. So let's have a look at XPS foam. So XPS foam is, well, one problem if you have it's I don't want to call it brittle, but it will snap. Can be dented, which is a plus and a con, because it can be I've got a big giant mic in front of my face, by the way, guys, so do bear with me. Can be detailed. Won't warp. Won't it? Not prone to warping. I think it can though. Like it will warp. So cons. Super glue. Like super glue and sprays can melt. On the pros though, I thought of can use heat to melt to landform. What's that called when you're landscaping to landscape? Wear a mask, duh. Gotta get more tea. Honourable mention, heat can warp. Exactly, Jay Young, I do agree. It's good and bad in a sense. I don't know what strand board is, Joe, sorry. Another mention for a base material would be a photo frame. See, so yeah, I don't want to go into the there are some good ones that are out there. Like I know Mel the Terrain Shooter is one of his videos. He's like, here, use these cake base stands, and I was like, that's all well and good, but I can't be asked. Like, wait, let's see if I can pronounce this. Cyanoacrylate, and then you just put eats, but you say it in a eats form, which is not good for my lisp. I'm not 100% sure what strand board is. I feel like XPS has probably got more to it than just this, right? By the way, if anybody has no idea what I'm talking about for any specific one, please just get in here and ask the question. No question is a stupid question. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about. So just let me know. A lot of us I've considered different kinds of terrain and what bases to put it on, but you might know some that I don't know, and I might know some that you don't know, so don't worry about it. I don't know what cyanoacrylate is. I'm gonna presume it's magic. Yeah, so there's almost certainly more to this XPS foam. It's like brittle in it. It'll like snap, which is good and bad. Like if I cut that, I could probably snap that with my hands, but I'm not going to because I don't want to look like a weakling on the footage. But yeah, I can't necessarily think of anything else that will go into that category. It is super glue, but is it just super glue or is it a part of super glue? Does that make sense? Vinyl tile pro, pro can be cheap. Con can be expensive. Genius. Oh right, okay, super glue's like the generic name. Okay. Vinyl tile is cheap. Easy to cut. To be fair, I'm gonna have easy to cut. Then XPS is actually pretty easy to cut. Cons, flexible. Snaps. It's a little bit like XPS in that it's very flexible, but it gets to a point and it'll like just snap, which I find not to be particularly great for terrain. I've never used vinyl tile. You mean like micro? This is where the stream goes off because I'm like trying to do something. Yeah. So I got some cheap vinyl tile. It's a vinyl floor tile. It's very, very thin. It's self-adhesive, but yeah, they're the kind of stuff that you just stick in kitchen on floors. Have it on the floor. Now you can see it's for terrain. That's not gonna hold. It's not going to be sturdy, is it? It's it'll snap. But it's does it have texture? Yes. So some of them do have texture, and this one does have a little bit of texture. Not quite as detailed as it seems. But if you check out the Tabletop Engineer, he made a video using it as texture. Another channel that uses this a lot, who doesn't really make that many videos as much these days, is Red Beard Baron. He used to base a lot of his terrain on vinyl tile, and it is pretty cheap. Like in the UK, in like the budget stores, so like your dollar stores and stuff like that, that's £1. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I have a trick. I use that for small, but yeah. So it's very good for small stuff because it won't do that because it's very light and it won't bend. It's pretty good. I really like it. That's all I'm gonna say. It's very cheap as well. I actually quite like it. So it's pretty good. Strand board is wood chips that are glued together and put. Okay, so that it sounds essentially like hardboard. Is it very different in terms of any? It doesn't warp. Look at this hair, guys. Honestly, unbelievable. Doesn't warp. That's interesting. I'd have to see how thick it would have to be before you said it didn't warp. Go to the hardware store, pick up 4x4 vinyl tile. Yeah, you can do that as well. They are thicker and self-stick. So they're thicker. That'd be interesting. They can be cut with scissors. The sticky side is a bit of a problem because when you cut it, you get like residue on your sticker on your stuff. So like, I will put that as a con. Sticky side residue. Although the cell stick could be a pro. It's cheap, easy to cut. It won't warp. I know that's weird because it bends, but it won't warp because it's not a permeable material. The glue's never going into it. It's not warping. It's just bent. So there you go. It looks like Yeah, OSB hardboard. It's all right. It's all the same kind of stuff. Like, I think you probably can. I just stick generally plywood and MDF are the ones that get talked about online. Anyway, now we're on to CDs. So the good thing about CDs, cheap. Cons, same size. I can't. It's not only is it the same size, but it's perfectly round. But I'll tell you what, it will not warp. Will not. No warping. No warping. Solid. You can snap it, but somebody would have to be going out of the way to snap it. It's very cheap. There's no warping. CDs are solid. I don't personally like them in the sense that it's the same size over and over again, and it plays with my head a little bit because you can obviously tell what it's been based on. So it feels unnatural. But for scatter terrain, I actually really like CDs. I think it's fantastic. Can't you just use the adhesive side to hold the styrofoam cardboard and sand the rest? Can't you just use the adhesive side to hold the styrofoam cardboard? Research and fucking sand the rest. I don't understand the question there, Billy. I do apologise. But basically, you can build the terrain on either side. You can either build it on the sticky side or the non-sticky side. I personally recommend building it on the sticky side because otherwise, if you take the paper off the tile, right, it'll stick. So you either have it so that your paper's always at the bottom with your terrain on top, in which case you're hoping that the paper never comes off, which I don't personally like. And if you do that, if the paper does come off, you can put PVA all over the sticky stuff, let it dry, and it'll be fine. It's easier in general to have the shiny side on the bottom, and the sticky side is to put the terrain on. That's personally what I would do. And it does slip a little bit. It can actually be a little bit slippy. Fill it in terrain bases. That's actually a good point. I like that. You can add to other basing mats to add solidity. Yeah, so imagine if it wouldn't perfectly work, but you can add. I don't necessarily want to add it. It's a bit. I agree with you. I think it's just a bit of a complicated thing to explain. You can do it. It's basically like, imagine you've got like corrugated cardboard, and I can't show you, but and you stick like barbecue sticks through it. It's that kind of like you can make, or you've got cardboard and you add popsicle sticks to it. That's a classic one, and then it's not going to bend. So there are ways of combining materials and improving them and working with them every time. You can find strandboard by 1/4 of an inch. Yeah. Styrene plastic, I'm just going to leave it as too expensive. I personally find chipboard to be expensive. It's not that expensive. Let's leave it as middle of the road in terms of price. Cons, it'll warp. Pros, solid-ish. Thin. Cuttable. Mainly, I guess. Cons, it's the warping really that does it for me. Whoop, whoop. Can I get a whoop, whoop? That's the sound of the beat. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the street. By the way, I didn't realise you couldn't see what I was typing. Unbelievable. Zach says, I haven't used MDF. How much does it? It will warp. MDF will warp depending on thickness, basically. It just soaks in all the liquid, so any kind of glue you use, it soaks it in, and then it just sort of dries, and it dries it it's like contracting and then the edges come up. Now there's ways around to getting warping like full stop. Generally the shape of the base is actually important. And you can always try and reverse the warping after the fact, or you can try and weight it down so it doesn't warp and that kind of stuff. In the US, there's also masonite, but it's like I have heard of masonite, but I don't really know why. If you prime it, so Zach, that is one way of doing it. You can prime it with. Did you prime it with paint? I saw something. I watched something the other day, and it said like you prime it with. I think it's the same as MDF. Yeah, I'll just leave it as that one. But I can't think of any more cons to chipboard. But I actually don't really like chipboard. I think it's. I'm gonna take out solidish. I'm gonna call it like flex. Okay, I'm not gonna call it solid or flexible because it's neither really. Do I have any chipboard to hand? I don't. I never actually said cork, but if you're going to use cork sheets, you'd have to put cork sheets onto another base. I would not use regular plastic primer. I would also use I would use automotive. Automotive sounds weird. They also have a special seal. Yeah. Can anybody think of any cons for chipboard? I feel like there's way more. It does like soak up the material, the glue and stuff like that, because it's card. But I can't think of anything. For the primer, I don't need the primer, but you might better at a hardware store. You know what I just realised about Coca-Cola and possibly all cans, right? The whole of this can, right, is this way. So this is what you see if it's coming towards you and you're drinking it. Granted, the drinker, the person who's drinking it, sees the Coca-Cola logo. By the way, not sponsored by Coca-Cola, but if they ever do want to get involved, I'm right here. Anyway, whereas I think this should be the opposite way around. I think like you should be drinking it and everybody else should see the logo. So like I should drink it like this and the logo should be facing out so everybody knows what I'm drinking. Instead, I'm drinking it like this. And you guys are seeing how many calories and how much milliliters there are in it. What's that about? I sound like a really terrible comedian. So chipboard, when I cut that really thick stuff, I find the edge, it does. So what's a good word for that? It basically, it's like damage, isn't it? It's like it will fray. It will sort of like, I don't know what the phrase is, but it's also water can damage it. I know there's some of the other stuff water can damage, but yeah, definitely I agree. Like it happened to me, like it sort of looks like it's coming apart. I don't really know how to phrase that, but for sure. It needs extra finishing. So, faux fur, which I can never say properly in canvas. The reason I put them together is I think they may have the same kind of pros and cons, right? Pro, this is definitely going to be pro and a con, is, not can, con. I think pro and con here is that it's flexible. You need to design around this. The fact that it's flexible. It's a good thing in some senses, but it's a bad thing in others. Easy to cut. Unprotected chipboard edges will flake away. Use PVA to seal. Yes, exactly. It'll damage over time. Basically, It's like it gets worn very easily. Fray, or let's put damage over time. If not sealed. I mean, it still might even damage over time, even if it is sealed. But there you have it. So faux fur / canvas. It's flexible. It's easy to cut. The con is that it's flexible. Like I know that this is the same way of saying this, but it's not solid at all. It's basically not. It's not offering you any kind of protection. It's just holding it together. There's only certain times you would even want to use this kind of stuff, and that's for like rivers. Obviously you use a canvas mat and faux fur generally for like just grass and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they both have the same kind of stuff. Chaos is a ladder. No, there's many steps to hell, isn't there? It's not like many rungs to hell on a ladder. It's steps. EVA, I do not understand EVA enough to really comment on it. Fluted corrugated plastic, it's sort of like what we already spoke about in terms of plastic. It's in the UK at least expensive. Oh, sorry. Wait, no. Pro. The pro is that it can be found. Oh, balls. Found cheap. The con is that it's expensive. It depends. Oh, bloody hell. It depends. I cannot spell today. Expensive. But then it is pretty, to be fair, solid. The con is that it's corrugated fluting. Also has enough surface texture that dry brushing it will make it noticeable. Oh yeah, true. Texture. Oh my god, it's sort of mild textured. It's not actually textured, is it? But we know what it is. But yeah, EVA is super soft. Not a fan of this sort of stuff. It's great for cosplay stuff. Yeah, so EVA has a purpose in it. In generally cosplay and crafting and stuff like that. It's probably underused for terrain. I can't necessarily think of a good usage for it either, even though I'm saying it's underused. But I do think that there is potential for EVA. I just don't know what. I just haven't created or thought of or seen of an idea. It's only good for detail work. Yeah, it's good for like crafting that you can carve into it easily and stuff like that. It is actually quite really nice material, Jimmy. I do actually agree. Like, really good for, but the EVA is really good for bases. I think I know what you mean. You can get those sort of like, kids play mats. That kind of EVA foam. I'm sort of with you. It is light, true. Now, I won't do chipboard and foam board together here because we'll just leave it here, but corrugated, not corrugated. No, I've not laid this out particularly amazingly. It's an election year. Corrugated plastic is readily available. Exactly. So, in the UK, that's not the case, but you can sometimes acquire it from, like, people will dispose of, like, estate agent signs and stuff like that. You can sort of get it. You shouldn't really get it, but you can sort of get it if you find it. So, I don't want to... Yeah, it's expensive if you buy it, but it's cheap if you find it. So it's a bit of both, isn't it? So let's just quickly go through the list. It's and this is my... There's almost... In fact, I don't think there is. There's not a single piece of basing material that we've whacked on here that doesn't have some cons. Everything has pros and cons. Now that's okay, but it makes my life a little bit difficult when I make my videos. So a lot of the videos I actually just use like foam board, just to show that you can do it on foam board. I do not like using foam board as a basic material. I much prefer using EPVC. Because if I wanted to snap this, I easily could. To be fair, I could probably bend some EPVC, but it's that the price on them is so different. So right, cardboard is the last resort, guys. If you're making terrain and you only have cardboard, fine. If you can't afford anything, cardboard is fine. I don't want to take that away from anybody, but do not use cardboard intentionally, or if you can get away with it. I like using foam board for terrain. I'm just testing something. So it's good for speed. That's one reason I do it for the videos as well. Like, I don't have to get my EPVC out. I just do my base, do the video, move on with my life kind of thing. Foam, for me, higher Mia's Drone Adventures. Hello. That was easy for me to say, apparently. Hey, randomly changing subject. If anybody wanted to become a member of the channel, you will be able to watch these back. Now, I'm not promising that will stay like that forever, because I'm tempted to make that available for anybody by just posting it unlisted and then posting a message as that. So I just want to make that clear that if you do become a member, and you become a member for that reason, we might have a little bit of a ding dong. There is a member on the channel who joined, I think maybe 2 weeks ago now. I can't 100% remember, but I won't necessarily. I wanted to have like a list of people who've done members and super chats and stuff like that, but I also didn't want to do it because I hadn't said that I was going to do it. But yeah, that might be a thing. The only reason I'm even mentioning about membership, because I was actually tempted to talk about Patreon and membership because there was a rumor. Basically, Patreon have lost a lawsuit. They've lost a lawsuit, and there's a small chance Patreon could go bust. I strongly doubt it. I think it's just nonsense. But yeah, I just want the live streams. I'm trying to make the live streams about membership and the videos about Patreon, just to keep the options open. So yeah, by the way, if you became a member, you would get a little icon and a notification. I do not have a 3D printer. I used to have a Maker Select 2, but I do not have it anymore because the time was taking forever and I couldn't be bothered. It was basically just wasting money. And hi, Mayu again. Sorry, I hope you're doing very well. I just went off on a rant there about Patreon and stuff. The trick with any material is to identify its weaknesses and work around them. Yeah, so one problem I have is because I make a terrain video. Let's say, so these Necron crystals are coming out on Friday or whatever it is, right? I make the terrain video, and what I base it on, sometimes how I make the terrain can determine what I base it on, but sometimes it doesn't matter. So for these, I would personally have used ePVC. Patreon is the internet version of the guy on the street begging for money. Yeah, the weird, and it is weird, but like that's how a lot of content creators are funded. So I've got no shame with begging for money. I think I'm just gonna have to go out there and beg for money, because if you ever wanted to become full time, you almost can't do it without Patreon these days, unless you sell stuff. But I don't want to sell terrain. It's a very difficult question, that, Jimmy. And that's not even a question. It's more like busking. Busking's a better term for it. Yeah, you're a guy playing his guitar asking for money. Yeah, because that. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's more like busking because I'm like, it's like you want to be helpful, but if like let's say you ever wanted to become full time on YouTube, I couldn't do it without Patreon at any point. I would need that. I would need that funding. So, I don't think Jimmy's necessarily saying I am specifically, but he was just saying about Patreon. But yeah, I have no qualms with it. I think busking is probably the more like correct term. But what my day job is, I'm technically a like business analyst, but I'm not. I just work on Excel. Do you know what I mean? I don't do anything interesting. You get a title bigger than what you deserve generally. Without the need for Patreon. Which ones, Jimmy? Come on, well, let's go, Jimmy. Not as a fight, but I am actually intrigued. So, I will say there's one that Luke APS, who was in the chat last week, he initially said he wasn't going to do Patreon, and then ended up doing one anyway, I think. But he also has a store, so I think a lot of people who sell stuff don't need to do Patreon. I think that's fine. And also, I don't really have a problem with Patreon as a default. Like, for me, as long as I don't gate... If a video was going to get put on the channel, and then it should go on the channel. I don't want to put anybody behind a paywall. But if something like... I was tempted to do maybe like a vlog or something like that I would never have put on the channel, maybe I would put that behind Patreon, because I would never have put it on the channel anyway. So, so I would be... so for me, it depends on how you use Patreon. If you use it as more like an optional thing, then I don't really have a problem with it. But a lot of people, like, there are a lot of crafters who do it without Patreon. Are there? I'm not even sure I can think of that many. How many are bigger than, say, like 10k? I know I'm not at 10k or anything like that, but I would be intrigued. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone. There's two people who may be in the category. Birdscraft may not have a Patreon. I'm not sure. I would have to double check. Eric's Hobby Workshop may not have a Patreon, but I'd have to double check. Oh, your bike, the baby's in bed. I wonder if mine might be in bed. I'm not 100% sure. I've lost track of her. We do have the camera, but we only have one viewer, and Katie has that. So that's fine. But yeah, I think like Mel the Terrain Shooter has a Patreon. Black Magic Craft has a Patreon. Wildcat has a Patreon. Most of them really do. Most of the big ones. And I would say that if you're a small one, for example, like myself, I don't really need to have the Patreon, right? And I don't gain that much from it. Thank you to anybody who does that. I know, like, Daka Flacka Flame, for example, has become a Patreon recently. But, you know, I'm not making megabucks. I think I'm making like $8 a month or something on that. So, yeah, I'm not too hung up on it. But it's sort of just there as, you know, in the if anybody wants to do it, in the hope that eventually maybe enough people will think it's worthwhile. So. But yeah, I don't think I would be curious of how many big terrain channels don't have Patreons. I would actually be very intrigued in the answer there. So Formex, the weird thing is here, I've got 3 cons for Formex EPVC, but I would actually say that EPVC is I do not have a Coke habit, just to say. I'm trying to cut back though. I'm trying to only have 2 cans of Coke a day. I'm trying to have one with my dinner and one with my tea. For non-northern speakers, that's one with my lunch and one with my dinner. I am trying to cut back because it's probably not great for me. To be fair, like I've put 3 Milk and Flex, but it's 3 mil MDF can flex. I'm not necessarily sure that is one. So, I mean, as you say, any material has like a problem depending on thickness. Like, you know, cardboard's probably okay if you got it in 10 mil thick. So I'm not sure about that one. This one isn't really a problem. It's you just have to. The only time this ever really matters, this hydrophobic stuff, where the water doesn't permeate into it, is with when you're putting your sand on it, when you're basing it. You're covering it in PVA. The only time it ever bugs me, and the reason it does, is I often end up missing bits. Can I show you? I can't show you. Don't really have a good example on that piece of terrain. But yeah, like you end up missing parts, which is a bit of a problem. Eric's Hobby Workshop does have a Patreon. Thank you, Space. My point was, I don't think there's that many big successful terrain channels that don't have a Patreon. And I have absolutely no qualms with trying to join them. That the goal is to become full time. You know, be able to spend. One of the reasons I actually want to do it, beyond just like it'd be nice not to go to work and stuff like that, is it'd be lovely to take Willow to school and stuff like that when she's old enough. Like right now she's 17 weeks old, but I can imagine when she starts school, the joy that I would find in actually being like taking her and picking her up and stuff like that would be, you know, fantastic. So. That's one reason. But yeah, I have literally no qualms with trying to get people to support me on Patreon. Like I'm not gonna even worry about it. Like almost everybody in the tabletop sphere, Birdscraft does have one too. Most people will. So when Timmy, and I don't want to jump on him specifically, but when Jimmy said, you know, lots of crafters do it, I'd say lots of crafters who are small mind do it. But I will be very, very surprised if there's any crafter that's got more, like there's that many crafters above say like 10k subscribers that don't have one. She starts school in 4.5 years, so I've got time, and don't worry, I'll be here in 4 years begging for Patreon. Begging for Patreon on that street corner. But yeah, so since the sugar tax, that fat Coke is full. I know I can't get over it either. I can't drink Coke Zero. Like I just can't do it. It's really bad for me, I know. I should really try and cut down, but it's like my one vice, that and McDonald's. But yeah, so the expensive bit, how much did we find this sheet for? Let's have a look at this again. 5 sheets for... Can I even call this expensive, right? Patreon, the way you have it set up, is kind of like a tip. Yeah, that's the only thing I might add to it is content. I might make a vlog video That's the same thing. I might make a vlog where I just update what I'm doing, like a blog. And the reason I would be confident and happy about putting that behind Patreon is because I would never in a million years put that on YouTube. So I think if it's content that would not go on YouTube, then it's okay to go behind the Patreon. But I would never, like, my goal generally is to help people get into crafting and stuff like that. Like, I really enjoy doing it, so I would never try and paywall it, but that's the plan. Yeah, so I'm calling this, right, so let's look at this. Let's actually do some maths here, right? These are A4, so the exact same, no, it's not the exact same size. This is A3. Okay, I take that back. How much is A4? It's about twice as, quick maths. 2 plus 2 is 2, quick maths. It's about, in the UK at least, twice as expensive as foam board. Now, I honestly think 5 sheets for £6 is pretty cheap. For what you're getting, I just think it's the best. But it seems to be determined that the US struggles to get this, and that's one thing I have a problem. Like, you know, I really want everybody to be able to replicate what I'm doing. And when it comes to bases specifically, if I do one thing and the viewer looks at the same thing and thinks, I can't replicate that, then I've broke that sort of, like, not trust, but it becomes very easy to be like, can't do it. He's used EPVC. I've only got foam board. So it becomes very difficult for me, because I really want to make it so that everybody can do it. So I would love to find a good source in the US, like Amazon or eBay or something, where most people in the US could get it. But it doesn't necessarily seem to be that consistent. You can get it from printers. Printers sign people. But yeah, distancing yourself is the term you're after. What did I say? Distancing myself. Yes, okay, talking about, yeah, so I don't want to put that distance between the audience and me by me having a material that they don't have. And I want to use this term like cognitive dissonance, but it basically takes away the story, the connection, because we're not working with the same things. And a lot of what I do and a lot of my thought process goes into the materials because I want everybody to replicate it. So I don't want to put any distance between that in the video. Amazon, it's like $8 for a 12-inch by 12-inch by 12-inch. Ooh, that's garbage. That's not good. Yeah. So I think if you're in the UK, I would 100% recommend Foamex or EPVC. If you're in the US, I honestly don't know. Like, maybe MDF. The thing is, if you're in the US, you're more likely to have power tools because you're more likely to have the space to have power tools. In the UK, I have no bloody space, so that's a problem. So I love EPVC. I think it's by far the best material, and yeah. Which is why I get a guy who works at a sign shop to pull it out of the trash. For sure. If you can get it at any kind of reasonable price, free or whatever, it's the best. I just think it is the best. I saw it on a Black Magic Crafts video. He was calling it like he called it like a magical, mystical piece of material that nobody could find. And yeah, that's a problem. Plywood, see, I think everybody knows about MDF. It is sort of like the old school method, but yeah, you can cut it with a knife. There's like 3mm you can cut with a knife. You'll be there for all day. It's very, very, very I'm going to put very difficult. Very difficult. Well, it depends, obviously, but I think it's very difficult. I'd have to double check about 3mm. If it is difficult, or if I'm thinking about 5mm. So, if 5mm is very difficult. 5mm is truly hard. It's cheap-ish. You can generally get it in like a builder's merchant's big sheet of it for like £5, something like that. It is pretty darn solid though. Will sand easily. Sawdust you can make as flock. Yeah, you're probably going to need power tools mainly. It makes it a lot easier. It will warp. See, that's the problem I have with MDF, is it'll warp. And if I'm going to risk warping, I just use foam board. It's going to warp anyway. Foam board, on the other hand, It's cheap, easy to cut, you can detail it, but again, it will warp. And what foam board does, it doesn't like completely snap, but what it'll do is like the card or the foam board, sorry, the foam inside of it will snap or break a little bit, and the card will sort of hold it together, so it ends up being like wobbly. Not particularly great. XPS can be detailed. I don't think it's prone to warping. I've never seen it warp, and I did a test years ago and it didn't warp, but it could do. You can heat it up with a heat gun and melt the landscape. Obviously, wear a mask if you're doing something like that. It can be cheap. In the UK, you can get massive sheets of it for like £5. It's very easy to cut. However, it'll snap. It dents very easily because it's just foam. You have to protect it basically. Obviously, if you protect it with like Mod Podge. Tell you. Got a wire stuck in my toe. XPS spray can be dented. Super glue and spray can melt it. True, unless you use florist spray paint. Don't know anything about that particularly. I once thought about using a matte board, like in a picture frame. Yeah, that would be expensive. Solid though, incredibly solid. I like in this one. It's like can be cheap, can be expensive. Old CDs are good if they're big and if it's big. So we're on CDs. We'll come to CDs in a second. But vinyl tile is cheap, easy to cut, doesn't warp, does not warp. However, the cons are that it's flexible. It can snap if you flex it too far, and it has a sticky side residue. CDs, on the other hand, they are very cheap. There's no warping. They're pretty damn solid. The cons are, personally, I don't like the cons because they're all the same size and they're perfectly round, and I find them to look a little bit unnatural. Now, styrene and plastic card, too expensive, not even going to bother with it. It's just too expensive for me. Chipboard, it's thin, cuttable. I've not put that it's solid because it's not that solid that I would put it in here. It will warp though because it will soak up the moisture, and it can fray and damage over time if not sealed. That can be the same for some of the other stuff. And water can damage it. It's pretty much the same thing. Faux fur and canvas, that's flexible, easy to cut. The con is that it's flexible, like it's a mat, so it is completely flexible. EVA we've not really talked about. Fluted corrugated plastic essentially has the same kind of pros and cons as plastic. So what I probably will do is I'll probably like, what I really would like is to get some USA links. Now, I might post this in the Facebook group or something like that and try and put make a spreadsheet and try and keep the links up to date, something like that, and maybe always have it so it's a referenceable table of materials of why to use it and what have you going to get. So I think we sort of might make this, I'll put it into a Google Drive sheets, but I'm thinking we'll have like where to buy it, well, what it is, like maybe the wiki to it, links to where to buy it in the UK and the US. Don't know why I'm doing that with my thumbs. Pros and cons. Simple as that. And then just keep that up to date. Where to buy it. Perfect. That's sort of the plan. I think that's an okay plan. I have no qualms with that plan. It sounds fine. One thing I want to talk about before we end the stream, which has still got a couple... What? I've only been streaming an hour and 20 minutes. Felt like I honestly feel, I think it's just because I went like straight into this one. I honestly expected that to be a lot longer than what it is. There we have it. Will I be doing? So I did. It's either Maya or Mia. I do apologise. I did a video about the 5 best basing. So I've done 2 videos in my life. I did one on my old Legion channel where I looked at all the basic materials, and I spent like 30 minutes and I was seeing if they warped and I was seeing if they broke and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking about how much they were per square meterage and that kind of stuff. And to be fair, I was looking at basic materials where you didn't have to use a power tool or a saw. And I came to the conclusion that EPVC and vinyl tile are the best. And then more recently on this channel, I did a video which was the 5 best basic materials. And One of the main problems with that video was the thumbnail. I know this isn't that interesting to anybody, but the thumbnail didn't really do a good job of explaining what it was. It was like it was just text with me holding a bit of a material, because it was very difficult. It's a very difficult thumbnail to get right. I've got an idea in my head, but it would revolve around doing some tests. Now, am I going to make this a video? I don't know. I could maybe at some point, but it's not soon. What I would really like, and this is possibly a long time off, is to have both my spreadsheet done, where you can buy it, the pros and the cons, and actually have examples of a piece of terrain on every single one of them. Maybe even the same piece of terrain. Now, I realise that might sound like absolute madness. Let me just count how many we had. We had cardboard. Let me count this on my fingers. Need my fingers. Cardboard, Formex, MDF, we'll just call that wood. Foam board, XPS. I'm already out of one hand. Vinyl tile, CDs. I'm not doing styrene plasticard. Chipboard, canvas, and let's say the fluted corrugated plastic. I'm already up to 10. Steve! Why am I peeking the mic today? Steve! I'm peeking the microphone today, I do really, but am I really loud? Do I sound really loud? Because I'm like, whenever I say something loud, I peak it. Best basing material, nature, done. No, I mean, no, we're talking this. We're talking this stuff, not the sand. This. So this is a problem, like, best terrain bases? Best... It's such a strange phrase, because you like, a basing material can be the sand, or it can be the thing that the sand goes on. It's a funky one, that, isn't it? I haven't really got the right term for it. Anyway, I made it. Steve, you've missed all the part. You've missed all the funny. I'll show you. So I made a little list of all the different types of. Well, what would you call it? Best terrain. What would you call it? Smarty pants. I made a list of as many, not every single basing material possible, but as many as we could think of, minus a few, and did some pros and cons. You missed all the fun. We did it. We all did it together. We all did it as a group without you, Steve. We did it as a group without you, Steve. It's so much more fun calling you Steve than Stephen. I honestly have no idea why. I feel like I can say it with a lot more menace. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can say it, Steve. Base materials, terrain base, terrain. Yeah. So I mean, I may have presumed. Best basing materials. Yeah, I don't see it. It's not a great thing to. Then you put your basing materials on the base material. Yeah, Johan, that sounds complicated, doesn't it? And hi, Johan, by the way. Base materials. Yeah, I don't think it's the most obvious subject. Like, it's not the most obvious answer. It's like it's the same thing twice. It's the same word. You could use it in multiple ways, which is unfortunately a problem that I can't really resolve. But sure. I think that's an issue. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the list. As I said, I might be bugging people on Facebook to try and help me create like links to the where you can buy it in the US. Basing scenery. Bases, maybe bases. That's the fun of this sort of video, isn't it? It is. Maybe bases. Terrain bases. Yeah, so like Billy said, terrain base. But if I just put S. The best terrain base material. Terrain base material. Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger, Kim the Bass Ninja, Kim Jong Un. Sorry, what are we talking about? Yeah, terrain best terrain bases materials. Yeah, it doesn't have the ring to it when you've got to put it like that. But yeah, that is essentially what we've been talking about. The terrain bases materials. Quick, get him his drugs. No, this is mild. This is last week we were popping off in absolute nonsense. Morning, Sean. Oh, I've got to get Sean's channel in here. Let me get a link. Although I strongly suspect it's the same people. We've got like a group of people here who are generally visiting. So yeah, I'd be very surprised if anybody wasn't here the last time I mentioned you. By the way, you appear to have changed your thumbnail on your most recent video, which I think the new one is better. But yeah, if that is RFD's hobby, oh god, language is hard sometimes. RFD, RFD Hobbies channel. See, I was going to say RFD's hobby channel, but technically that's not the case. Anyway, go subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Honestly, really excellent terrain. So much better than mine. So you should definitely go check it out. You know, somebody who actually can build terrain. That's pretty much what that is. So yeah, go check that out. Yeah. So wait, I feel bad who don't get this crazy fresh from the tap. So I must confess, in my most recent video that's coming up on Friday, I'm trying to add a little bit of my personality, but it feels a little bit stilted because I'm recording it and you can obviously redo it. So even though I didn't redo it, it just feels like you could. It feels like I'm a bit more awkward. It's a bit. Thank you. As per my instructions were completed. Thank you. You successfully completed the task. Yeah, but his gang's from the roof. So let's do this. Wait, somebody said I've got to say Kim Basinger with the really low voice. Is that what you're trying to say? Kim Basinger. See, is that how you spell his name? Because I always say it like Kim Basinger, but it's written Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger. Kim the Passenger. Kim the Passenger. Haha, I love your streams. I seem to come at the strange part of the conversation. Gold. Well, we've done with the bulk of the stream. Like the actual conversation part of it's done. Saw your buildings on Reddit. Good. Zach had already done it. So Zach had already subscribed already. But we tried. Kim Basinger. Kim Bass. Now, okay, what if he was a bass singer? Is Kim Basinger a bass singer? Now that is the key question. Kim bass singer. I can't sing or do bass. I've got a very high voice. I don't even notice this, guys. I actually have an EQ on, which sort of deepens my voice a little bit. I wonder if I can very briefly turn that off. Here, look, tell me. I peaked the mic again for bloody hell's sake. Yeah, I'm going to turn off. It's a she. Sorry. The name's Kim. Why am I saying he? I don't know. Yes. Here, look, I'm going to turn off my EQ. So I will say a sentence and tell me if it sounds any different. I am walking now with my EQ on. Now I am turning off the EQ and now I have turned off the EQ. Does it sound any different? I'm not really sure. Now I'm going to turn the EQ back on. Does it sound any different? It may do. Either way, I'm sticking with the EQ on. Sounds the same. For fuck, what is the point of even having it on? Very subtle. Deliberately very subtle. Very subtle. You know how when it's got. I mean, to be fair, Steve, it's the one thing I'll trust you on. You sound a little pitchy with the EQ off. I think that's the problem. So my natural voice is actually pretty high. Yeah, like I just get excited and my high voice comes out. But if I was like left to my own devices, I would maybe like. When I'm being lazy, it sort of like drops down and it'll come a bit more like, hey, what's going on? Oh yeah, that's all right. No, I'm not doing that. But when I get excited, it's like, hey guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Grab me a river here. They're the only ones staring back at me. Oh, Johan de Jong. I hope I'm saying that right. Love these rather odd, sometimes wildly off topic, but generally maximum professional streams. Now, why has the alert not come on? alert. Come on. By the way, Johan, thank you very much for that. And I just also want to give a shout out to Jay Young, who's sent me a message with like some art about maximum professionalism. I'm not really sure what I'm doing, and I couldn't very easily get it on stream this time, but I will show that off at some point. But yeah, Jay Young's been we've been chatting on emails and stuff like that. So thank you very much to that. Why is this alert not coming on the bloody thing? Come on. There we go. There we go. Thank you very much for that. I do honestly really appreciate that. So we were talking about Patreon before. The super chats, right? Let me put this into perspective. The 2 super chats, right? Will now it'll equip. Let's say 100% is everything I got in a month from like YouTube and Patreon. The 2 super chats now will probably have like probably be about 1/4 of everything that I've made this month. So I do really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Johan. 20 seconds delay on the alerts, plus you need to turn it on plus. I don't know why. Let's not bother with that now. But I don't know why there's a massive delay. I think, yeah, it's weird that, because I don't know why there's a massive delay. I don't have anything set to it. Maybe I've got a massive delay turned on it, but I don't necessarily think so. But who knows? Yeah. Yes. I'm such an annoying. I'm actually going to check. So I'm going to check Streamlabs. If you don't fix it, you're going to forget. Bloody hell, Zach knows me. Zach's straight on my case. It's like, if you don't fix this now, you'll never fix it. I say that so many times while I'm at work. I'm like, yep, if I don't do that now, I'll never do it. Never ever remember. So no, it's standard. You noticed it on other streams. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah, it's just on. Thank you. Happily spent the last Tuesday evenings here, as you may well know. Yeah, exactly. Well, I do really appreciate it, Johan. I'm dropping frames like a bugger. Why? This is some maximum professionalism moment right here. The stream is now killing itself. I think possibly because I downloaded something from Streamlabs. The stream is killing itself. Stream is killing itself. We've seen this a stream time or two. Damn Virgin Internet. You know me, Steve. The Virgin Internet's killing me there. Yeah, for whatever reason. Let's have a quick look. I know you can't see what I'm looking at, but I've logged into Streamlabs, which is what I use for the alerts. I won't test one. Hopefully was the audio of the alert very loud? I didn't have the headphones on. Tuesdays have been great because of the stream. Oh, I'm so happy people actually care about it, because I'm just absolute random mess. Maximum professionalism mess. Let's have a look at Super Chat. I see an alert duration, but I see an alert text delay. I see volume, but no, I don't think anything. I think it's going better. Yes, I think it was because I was downloading something. I can't see anything that says about delay. We'll just all tweet at Streamlabs and complain about it, and tell them to sort themselves out. But yeah, I didn't know there was a sound for delay. It was silent. I've got the audio on very low. I'm very I don't really like loud alerts. That's why you need to turn it on. Nah, I don't like loud alerts. Plus, Super Chats, the only one that I think I would possibly miss would be members. So if you became a member of the channel, it wouldn't say in the chat, I don't think. It would say in the alert. So I could miss a new member. But the Super Chats are obviously in the chat, and I'm reading the chat. So I'm not worried about missing a Super Chat. I'm only worried about missing members, really. I planned my week around this. I'm sorry. All I can say is I'm sorry. I'm not sure I'm that interested. This is basically like, if you ever go on Twitch, this is essentially a just chatting stream, except around terrain. So yeah, for anybody who missed it, by the way, if you want to jump in the Facebook group, here, look, I'll post. Here, let's try another maximum professionalism moment here. Can I do this? Does this actually make sense? Right, I don't know if this will work. Right, basically, if you want to have access to this spreadsheet when I've done... Oh, that is not the right link. Bear with me a second. Oh, bloody hell. I'm having a maximum professionalism moment. basically, I'm trying to get you a link to the Facebook group just in case you're not in it. Because I will post this link in here first. I will be asking for some help for this list. It'll be a list that people can. Actually, I'll probably lock it. I'll probably have one where it's locked. But yeah, it'll be. You're gonna have to set an alarm for Tuesdays. Honestly, I mean, I think we should all start planning stuff on Tuesdays just to get out of watching this stream. Safe search, maximum professionalism. Yeah, shall we? Wait, I'm going to search. By the way, that Facebook group is what I'm going to use to put this in. So this is the little list. Obviously, I'm going to tidy it up. We've done this on stream today, like literally all of it. So I will tidy this up. I'll try and get links to specific countries. If anybody is in a like a big country, if you're from like Azerbaijan, no offense to Azerbaijan, it's probably not worth it. But if you're in like Germany or the US or Canada or Australia, I'm just ruining some countries. I'm like, yeah, if your country's too small, I'm not bothered. Then we might have a list. Anyway, let's Google maximum professionalism, right? Let's Google maximum professionalism. Let's see what happens. Not much. This good trademark. Lock it and add it from the comments rather than allow me to break it. Yes. So what I might do is lock it so nobody can change it, and then I will add everything manually. Just so Steve doesn't break it. So this guy's got maximum professionalism accounting. I'm not reading this. This isn't maximum professionalism. I don't even know what they're talking about. But okay, maximum professionalism. Okay, let me turn this off. Let's see if I can show you. Hey, Chilling War Games. If you're, I'm gonna have to get. My chat has died again. Or Zach Pennington has done something that has broke my channel. Broke the chat again. Is that an emote? What is that? Is that an emote? What is that? Test? Is that a stupid emote? Is that an emoji you can do? It's a buddy emoji. Yeah, I'm like, you broke my chat. It's actually just pretty default. Yeah, look, there's my face as well. Pick on Belgium. All they make is waffles. Exactly. And they're tiny. There are emojis. There you go. Look for Bonarton. It's my... Okay. Let's have a look at Bonarton. Let's get this back on. By the way, Chilling War Games. If you're not subscribed to Chilling War Games, you absolutely should be. A group of people in the UK. UK represent. Let me get Bonarton. I'm actually just going to try and spell it. Bonar... Yeah, that emote was like... emoji or whatever you want to call it. Blowing my mind. I never said I was smart. We never said I was smart, guys. So, have I spelled this wrong? It's double N, double Bonartron, Bonartron. Great to see everyone in the Chatteroo team. Hashtag UK or # UK if you're from the 50s. No, feel free. Just that first one was confusing. Am I bloody Bonar trying to break my stream? Interestingly, you've sort of stumbled on something that we might talk about at some point. I want to do, and I will actively canvass suggestions. So we mentioned the Facebook group because I was talking about this list that I'm making for the basing materials and stuff like that, right? But what I didn't think it was all in the comments. You got me. You well 100% got me, right? Can we just move on with our lives? Jesus Christ. I'm just kidding, by the way. I'm not angry. Nice that they're doing what? Good. Is that a dab? I'm not dabbing. On the Facebook group, right? The idea, what I'm thinking about, and I don't really know how to work this. In my head right now, I sort of want to do like a terrain showcase. Maybe like once every 2 months. I think once every month is a bit much. Like, I can't be arsed running it every month. And then I think like once every quarter is a bit too few. So I was thinking maybe once every 2 months. And I was thinking like a terrain showcase. But the problem I have with it is I sort of want to reward people, but that sort of then makes it a competition. And I don't really want it to be a competition. I want it to be like a community like reward, but I don't want it to be a competition. Does that make sense? That's very difficult. You guys showed up on my feed a few days ago and I subbed. Oh, cool stuff. So if anybody's got any ideas, it'd be ran purely on Facebook. The only thing that I would maybe do... I peaked the bloody mic again. Honestly. I blame this EQ. I just peaked it again. I do. I'm really, really apologetic. Turning myself down a little bit, turning myself down a little bit, turning myself down a little bit. I do apologise, the audio's been weird tonight, I don't even know why. Yeah, so I don't know how to make a Facebook showcase into something that people will actually want to enter, with that, but I don't want to make it a competition. So I'm a little bit like torn on that as an idea, but the only thing, I wouldn't really do it on YouTube. We would maybe look at the stuff on the streams. Easy, man, it's an easy stream. We just get to look at other people's terrain. That would be fantastic. And I would maybe like put the best ones at the end of the odd video here and there. Be like, hey, look at this terrain showcase. If you want to come over on Facebook, come over on Facebook. You know, that sounds fine. So I like the idea, but I don't want to turn it into like a super competitive thing. But I also sort of want to reward it at the same time. What time is it where you are? I realise that you just said tonight, Zach, in the UK right now, in the northwest of England, it's the same in all of England and Scotland to be fair, it is 20:11, 11 minutes past 8, or 20 hours 11, whatever the phrase is. But yeah, it's 8:11, which is like 7:11, but 8. We don't have 7-Elevens in the UK, and I've got to say, like, I think if I lived near a 7-Eleven in the US, I would be on the diabetes road. Like, them bloody, like, they got Slurpees, massive sodas. I'm calling them sodas because you guys are American, but massive soft drinks and Coca-Cola and stuff like that. Fizzy pop. Jesus Christ. Wow. You need better chocolate, for sure. You need better chocolate. I think we can all agree you need better chocolate. But, and your potato chips, crisps, crap. Just the same time in England and Scotland. Yes, so, wait, okay. I'm pretty sure in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and I think the Republic of Ireland, it's the same time. However, I think pretty much all of Europe is an hour ahead. An hour ahead, I think. Or an hour behind. Not 100% sure. Pretty much all the same. 1 block away from a 7-Eleven. Ooh, just... I don't know what it is, right? Maybe it's because I'm British. But for those of you who don't know, I spent 3-4 months in America, in Long Island, doing Camp America, right? And let me just check one thing, sorry. And when I was there, I'll go grab a Slurpee for me. Damn. And there was something so like quintessentially American about walking into a 7-Eleven. Like, I don't know why. It smelled interesting. 15:13. Yes. So generally the East Coast is 5 hours behind where we are. Not always the case because of times and stuff like that. And then obviously it goes 5 and then 6 and then 7, 8, 9, whatever. But yeah. I don't know. 7-Eleven. It was everything I anticipated in a in a 7-Eleven. I loved it. I really liked it. No, it's a straight line down through the equator. Greenwich Mean Time. Yeah, but then not many countries actually do it. Like all of Europe, I think maybe apart from, is it Portugal who might be on ours? There's some random countries. It sort of goes down and then like goes out for Europe. And then even parts of Africa don't bother with us. We're sort of like our own little... We were like, we'll use Greenwich Mean Time, and then nobody else uses it. And then even we go for 6 months of the year, not going to ask. Not going to bother. GMT -6. So yeah, that's sort of like the one in from the East Coast. What is that? CST? Something like that. Nobody telling me about the Sonic Route 44 drinks. Yeah, you get themed drinks and stuff like that. Do you know the fast food... Oh, right, okay. I honestly thought you meant Sonic Route was themed for Sonic. But you get all kinds of, like, commercial... In the nicest possible way, everything's overly commercialised. Like, everything is commercialised. The drink... The cups from 7-Eleven have, like, thieves on them and stuff like that sometimes. I'm not sure I've heard of Sonic, but I don't really know what it is. But, yeah, it's very... Yeah, I really love 7-Eleven. Being in the US was like weird. Walmart's particularly was mental. So there was like Walmart, and I can't remember the name of this place. Right, it wasn't Walgreens. Is Walgreens? Maybe it was Walgreens. I don't know. There was a Walmart, right, and then next to it there was like a completely normal UK supermarket, right, and it was like actual fruit and veg and food and stuff you would eat. Walmart was like just anything. It was like, yeah, it was completely mental. it was less a supermarket and more of a like just a giant ass store. If that makes any kind of sense. Everything is either, it's like Eastern or Pacific. Even I see that because if I'm trying to watch NFL games or something like that, it's always one. Walgreens is the drugstore. Okay, I can't remember the name. I want to say not Safeway. That don't make sense. If somebody said it, I would know. I would recognize it. But it was tractors, guns, sweets, and clothes. Yeah, the fact that you can buy a gun in a Walmart down south or whatever is absolutely insane. But yeah, Walmart is exactly how I pictured it. But then, like right next to it was like the perfect supermarket. It was like a British supermarket done completely superbly. But it was, in comparison to Walmart, it was dead. There's like nobody in there. It was honestly, it was crazy. Kroger, no. That's not right. You can't buy guns. You can't buy their guns anymore. Oh, that's all right. That's fine. Didn't they stop? I don't know. I a lot of this stream, I end up just taking the mick out of Americans, but you guys need to get rid of guns. Yeah, I can fix America in like two simple things. Well, three. We got to get rid of Trump, but the other two, I'm going very political. One, get rid of guns. Two, free healthcare. Done. Processed food. I'll go bold. Processed food in America. Some stopped last time I was in Walmart. They still had rifles. That's mental. Anyway, there you have it. There you have it. Guns are great. Most crimes that happen with guns are from people who don't own them legally. Yeah. So the thing is with that, right? But it's way easier to get a gun illegally if everybody can get a gun legally. Like, most countries that don't, there's like, is it Switzerland or someone like, or Austria, somebody like that, where everybody has a gun, and there's very low crime. But you ain't it. Do you know what I mean? I would just make it harder to get. Criminals don't follow the laws. This is true, but if you make, the thing is, you're almost naffed because there's guns all around the place. See, I think it's a little disingenuous because most places, most places where there's no guns don't have gun crime, and we still have criminals. Like in the UK, we have knife crime because getting a gun is way harder. It's just like, I don't know. I just think it's worth erring on the side of caution. Do you not think? Like when your schools are getting shot up, should we not maybe like try the not having guns? Like, I think maybe that's what I would have. You 100% would still have gun crime. Yeah, we do. In the UK we have gun crime for sure. I 100% agree with that. And I would never, facts are facts. It's just a lot less if you look at it percentage wise. Apart from like Austria or Switzerland, which is like the one random exception, there's a strong correlation to having the amount of guns and the amount of crime committed with guns. So, no, that's true. And I'm actually not necessarily against guns in a sense. I think. I would maybe get rid of like rifles and automatic weapons and stuff like that, and maybe just go to pistols. Like, I don't think the guy in like Las Vegas or whatever who had like multiple essentially automatic rifles. Like, I don't think he needs that just for sport or fun or what have you. Yeah, so it's the wrong people on it. Yeah, and the problem is you'll never stop the wrong people owning them. But if everybody's like, let's put it this way: if every criminal in the UK had a gun, we'd have a lot more gun crime than what we do now. And it's because they don't have access to the guns. But you can buy a rifle at 18, but not a pistol. See, in one sense, I sort of understand it. You can't really conceal the rifle. You can conceal a pistol. But I think like automatic weapons should probably be like a no. Sonic is a drive-through car hub, only fast food place. They have a 44-ounce drink called the Route 44. They also have shakes, moves, except... Oh, I like the sound of that. You can't buy auto guns in the US unless you're a yes. And I have personally it's easy for me to say no guns, but you're never going to get to no guns without a slow progression. And I would maybe go like, we ban semi-automatic rifles, we ban anything that makes shooting a lot of guns quickly because you don't really need it for whatever reason. I would maybe get rid of them. And I mean, like, when you look to I've got to tell you, as a European, we're going well off subject, I do apologise, but as a European, when on the protests for all the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that, you had both sides had people with like just semi-automatic rifles or whatever just stood protecting stuff or looking threatening or whatever you want to say. And as a European, that sight to me was mind-blowing. Like, I just couldn't, like, it's very hard to get my head around it. Yeah, it was a very like it wasn't even discomforting, but like I personally wouldn't like. There's way more people in the UK I wouldn't like to have a gun than had a gun. We're absolute cretins. I do not own a Claymore. No, right, guys. Also, there is a difference between a spoon and a gun. One is designed essentially to hurt people. One is not. So I think, we by the argument that it's not the gun, it's whoever has them. Should we say the same about nuclear weapons or rocket launchers? Like, no. We deliberately don't want some countries to get nuclear weapons. Oh, why? It's not the nuclear weapon that kills people. It's the like. So we stopped some people having nuclear weapons because they're bad. And we've actually stopped most people having nuclear weapons because they're bad. So I don't know. Like it sounds simple, but it's not. It's not as simple as it sounds. Is what I'm trying to say. And it would be funny seeing people with suits of armor and stuff like that. Yes. Random political ending to the stream. Not really intentional, but that is where we've ended up. Any last ditch controversial subjects we could talk about? I have 6 guns. I don't really have a problem with a gun per se. I have more of a problem with the gun culture, I think. Like, as I said, people going to protest, like, openly showing guns and stuff like that, I find really weird. It's just weird. People just, like, going to shooting ranges and popping off and stuff like that, I don't really have a problem. But when you have a proliferation of guns where there's way more guns per head than a lot of other countries, then it stands to reason that you're going to get way more gun crime. And yet, it's like that classic Huffington Post piece, right? What's it called? The Onion. And The Onion is like, no way to prevent this, says the only country where this happens all the time. So, like, no way to prevent this, says the only country where this happens. Like, I personally don't think, and you can disagree with me, and there's no qualms with it, but I don't think letting people shoot targets and stuff like that is worth the crime and people getting shot up in schools and stuff like that. I just don't think it's worth it. And you're never going to overthrow the government with the concept of anyway, because I mean, we've seen with people actually rioting and people getting abducted and stuff like that from like military. Nobody's like, you can't fight against the government on that scale. So we have gun clubs. You have to properly be registered as well. So there's that. You have to properly be registered. Well, that's it for the stream. I feel like we randomly went off topic there at the end. And it is what it is. By the way, if one last thing before we go, one plug for myself. You don't really have to do this, but I will probably stream, and I'll probably, I'll be a bit more open to talking about politics and stuff like that there. But let me get you a link to my MMO channel, which I've now made one extra video on. So I can imagine you're thinking, where's the post going? Where's the post going? Where is the post going? It'll be on Facebook. If you mean the stuff about the basin, it'll be on Facebook. I will be streaming there. I will talk about guns and stuff there. I realise it's not really appropriate for a terrain channel, but we were off. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to Johan again for the super chat. I might try and get like a super chat thing here. I will need help for the basing stuff. I'll need links and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, about the original terrain topic. There we go. It'll be on Facebook when I've finished. I'll need to tidy it up. I'll need to request links and stuff like that. I'll need to remember to actually do it. For now, it's sort of like my own list, and maybe I'll use it somewhere. But that's the plan. Steve trying to confuse me again. I'm like, oh, the chat's broke. Buffering. Thank you again, Johan. I do really appreciate that. Yeah, as I said, like I don't want to big it up too much, but honestly, like that amount is most of the revenue I will get this month, basically. And at the minute, I don't need the money. I have a full-time job, obviously, but it'd be very difficult to transition into something more serious if people like Johan and stuff like that didn't do what they were doing, Tony of Earth last time. So I do really, really appreciate it. And generally, it's all just going to go back into getting more materials. So we did a list here of materials. I might now buy them. Tyler said, had to leave. I got just back for the end. Yeah. You just missed some politics, which was great. But thank you, great stream as always. There we go. Have the most beautiful day. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. So wait, one last thing. How would people feel if I make this? You can watch it, but it won't. I was going to make it member exclusive, but do you think I should make it non-member exclusive and put it as a unlisted video where, and in the community tab, I put a link to it there? Do you think? I'm not Columbo, but one last thing. Anytime my mum asks how my art works, I realise I'm going to have to set up a square. So I'm thinking about, I'm going to not put them behind the paywall of membership. If anybody thinks that's a good or bad idea, let me know. Other than that, have a beautiful day. Goodbye. Are you even qualified for maximum professionalism? Great question. The thing with this stream is... I was watching the views at the end and I started talking about politics and people left. I was like, oh, maybe not talk about them again. Good job it was near the end of the stream. Yeah, well, that's the thing. So yeah, it's the one putting the stuff behind the paywall is a bit... I don't actually know why I said it. I'm not even sure you can do it as a non-member. I'll have to have a look. If so, I'll post it in the community tab today. Although I think I'll probably offend people with my anti-gun stance. Guns don't kill people, rappers do. That's true. That's almost true. Oh no, this is the thing. I always do the after party. This is my thing. I do a little like after chat, and then I come back on in a minute. It's like an encore. Nobody asked for it. It's like an encore that nobody asked for. Vote Cthulhu. True. Yeah, it's the worst encore you've ever seen. Last time I sang. Do you want to hear a song? Shall we do so? Oh, this will get rid of the viewers. I've got a perfect song to get rid of you all. Let's have a drink of my Coke. Not sponsored by Coke, please, Coke. This is James Blunt. I'm not actually sure what the title of this is. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me. Turns out I've not got a good voice. Who'd have thunked it? Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye. Okay, when I see my face, I will end the stream. Goodbye. Goodbye.